During the show, we were talking about the Gender Equity Index that is now currently underway. But let's talk more about that. I mean, one of the things that I didn't bring up on the show is that this is by a volunteer basis. Can you give us an idea, for one thing, of who has actually taken the survey? Are there certain sectors you're seeing more of?
Well, I think what happened was this was our first attempt to gather this kind of data. And as happens in the legislature, the Secretary of State very graciously agreed to put it on silver flume. But because we didn't have the right sorting mechanisms or even the infrastructure in place to do outreach, to gather the data, we got a lot of disjointed responses. But what that gave us was information where we can now look in the next legislature when we're reviewing, how do we make this reporting required? How do we let companies understand this isn't about shaming? It's about useful information that if you don't know, how do you actually change the reality? We use the Human Rights Index, Equality Index, which is the LGBTQ index. When they started measuring and making it very public, we were one of the first companies to get a 100% score, but then everybody wanted a 100% score. It goes to, if we can gather the data, make sure that the data is clean, and then make it public, I think it helps companies see where they are and gives them an incentive to move to be better.
And what is the plan then for sharing of the data and the results? Is there going to be kind of an overall report, or are we going to be able to look at the specific data points?
That's one of the things we're looking at now. Do we then partner with UNLV, whether it's REN, different agencies, the Women's Commission, certainly the Governor's Commission on Women, in making that information public. But letting companies know, as I said, that we're doing this so they have useful information, not to call them out, but if you don't know, then there's no reason to change.
In the gaming and tourism, did a similar gender equity index. Didn't get a lot of response, I read. I think there were 21 corporations it was sent to. I think 5 responded. But have you noticed that that has made any type of shift, at least in awareness or transparency?
I think there's some awareness, and I think you have seen in the gaming industry companies start to look inward and say, we're probably not using our talent to the highest and best utilization. And it's a first step. But to Erica's point, this is very difficult. Work cultures are not suited to really allow women who, shocker, we're always going to be the child bearers. And so you've got to start changing work cultures to allow your best talent to do both. And quite frankly, it's not just about women. You're finding with the millennial, the younger workforce, they have entirely different expectations of what they're willing to do in a workforce, how they balance their quality of life with their work life. And in the 1950s, you had to be at your desk. Today, you don't. There are many different ways that you can allow talent to be more flexible and still have the highest performance expectations.
Yeah, and especially now, Erica,
I think
gig economies and how technology is going to advance where we're going to go. I mean, is there a chance that those things close some of these gaps?
Oh yeah, of course. I think across the country that we have so many folks who work remotely and we are talking to folks in other countries at the same time. So if we can have these conversations and Skype meetings and FaceTime folks in other countries to get work done, why can't we do that for folks who might be local but need to be at home because they might be taking care not just of children, but you may be taking care of your parents. You could be taking care of anyone that you love. And so this is why it is important that it's not just about equal pay. It is about paid family leave. It is about paid sick days. It's about having the time to take care of yourself and so that you can do a good job at work. And 83%, I believe, is the number of women that are head of household in Nevada. And when you're head of household, that means you are in charge. So when something goes wrong, you've got to be the one to fix it, both at work and at home. And so you need that flexibility, but you shouldn't be penalized for it because you have children, because we need to continue the workforce at the same time as well.
Yeah. Let's talk more just about racial and ethnic minorities and some of the gaps we have here. I'm just looking at the list right here from National Partnership in African American Population, 66 cents to the dollar. What are we doing just to provide more support or more awareness around some of these ethnic and racial gaps?
I think the biggest thing to think about is that when we talk about unemployment and the rate of unemployment going down, that is not going down for everyone. And it depends on where you live, and it depends on what educational opportunities you've had. And so when we start talking about the equity gap with pay, that also includes, again, representation and having folks who aren't able to graduate from high school and go directly to college, or not being able to take unpaid internships. So many folks have had to step up because they've been able to do internships unpaid because they have parents who can afford to let them live at home or pay their bills or what have you. And so some folks have to get right out there and do the work, and they need a full-time job and they need some benefits. So they take what they can get, and then they're stuck because they don't get that opportunity to explore and think about new things, or even try something out and fail. And a lot of folks fail up. I see it all the time. We've got candidates failing up all the time nationally, and they're still there. And so how do we do that for low income and folks who come from just meager means, who just don't have those opportunities and don't have the mentorship of folks around them to say, hey, I'll help you. I'll help you do this, or I'll help you do that. When you start off with nothing, a lot of times it's really hard to scratch your way all the way to the top.
And for those individuals that are watching right now that fit that demographic, what are some of the resources that are out there for them?
I think you need to spend some time trying to find some mentors. Mentors aren't always going to find you. I think you have to reach out. If you see someone that's doing something really great and you admire them, it could be their job, or it could be just the way that they carry themselves. Ask them how they got there. Ask them what they were doing, and see if someone will take you under their wing. I think that, as women, I think it's important for us to be out there, talking to high school students and college students, because a lot of jobs, people just don't even know that they exist. I did not know that your job existed. So, things I could have done. I liked art in college. So, what are the things that you can do? And what are the things that might spark your interest? And I think if you don't know what's not there until you see it.
Yeah.